All right, everyone. Last looks. Quiet on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene 1. Take 1. Market. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Hello, Savannah. Hello, the world. Welcome to another episode of Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and I have a very special guest here today in studio with me. But before we begin, I just wanted to send a special shout out to all our fellow filmmakers and their families in North Carolina and South Carolina that are dealing with or even the after effects of Hurricane Florence. You were not forgotten. You were definitely in our thoughts. And so let's begin with the show here. And our purpose here on Savannah on Film is to explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We are here on WRUU 107.5 FM LP, Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And today's guest I want to welcome to the show is a pillar of the Savannah film community, and her name is Beth Nelson. Welcome, Beth, to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
I've been so looking forward to this interview, and so has my audience, and I appreciate everyone who's tuned in today here and worldwide. So let me tell you a little intro about Beth. Beth Nelson is AFCI Certified Film Commissioner. She is the Executive Director of the Savannah Area Film Office. She promotes the Savannah area to the entertainment industry, serving as a liaison between film companies and local municipalities, providing assistance to production companies filming in the area, and supporting local crew and businesses. Beth has worked as a location manager for film, television, and commercials and has had a wealth of knowledge and experience in the entertainment industry. She holds a Master of Education degree from Armstrong State University and a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Georgia. Beth served on the Savannah Film Commission from 2012 to 2016 and is a founding member of SWIFT, which is Savannah Women in Film and Television. She is a member of the Georgia Film, Music, and Digital Entertainment Commission and Savannah State University's Journalism and Mass Communications Advisory Board. That's a lot of accomplishments.
That sounds good, doesn't it? When I listen to it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, you are very impressive, very important part of what makes Savannah, our film industry, successful. And
thank you.
You're welcome. Beth, like I said, is the executive director, and over there on Hutchinson Island is where the office of the Savannah Area Film Office is located here in Savannah. first, we're going to talk about, there's a few positions we mentioned in there, and one of the most important ones, one of the most vital ones that Beth has played as a location manager. And before we get into a lot of big questions I have here, we're going to just kind of go through some films that have been in the Savannah film area here. And if Beth can, she's going to speak on just some thoughts about them. We'll start with Baywatch. You were location scouts on that in 2017.
Yes, but mainly what I did was, at that point in time, December, I stepped in as an interim director for the City of Savannah Film Office. So my work with that movie, after the scouting I did for them before they actually landed here, was in the current role that I have, basically as a film commissioner and helping them as they filmed here in Savannah.
Okay. Any thoughts on Baywatch? Any inside thoughts you can give us? Or
well, Baywatch was a huge production that kind of landed right in the middle of Tybee Island. It was big, but it provided so many opportunities for our local crew, jobs, and the economic impact of that show was great. So it was a wonderful show to have here. I think we also saw some of the actors give back to the community. I know Dwayne Johnson visited the Children's Hospital at Memorial and did some other things that really helped just help the community.
Good, yeah. He's very famous, I think, for doing a lot and giving back, and that's always a very wonderful thing. We have the movie Untouched from 2017. You were location manager on that one.
Yeah, that was prior to that.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact
Yeah, and some of these
year.
dates, they might actually be before, but by the time they get released, it's a different year.
Right, it's a whole different date, usually on IMDb.
For the uninitiated, what's the difference between a location scout and a location manager?
Well, a location scout is basically looking for the locations. So they will get a script or a location list and then go out and cover a territory and try to find the locations that will match what is in the script. A lot of location scouts then are also location managers. So it is two different jobs, and some people just strictly scout, but a location manager then is on the job while during pre-production, production, and wrap, doing so many things. I can't even name them all, but basically getting the location ready, dealing with everything that comes with shooting on location. That means finding parking, that means providing restrooms, places to eat, catering, working on contracts with the location, working out all of the deals and the details that go into that, and then making sure the location is taken care of, both for the production and also for the owner. And at the end of the shoot, making sure it's restored and cleaned and everything is back to normal.
Yeah, because you never do want to burn a location. Yeah, that's
right.
The first thing they teach you. So we have 2016 here, a couple of actually a trio of films when they showed up, the actual release. Live by Night with, I believe, Ben Affleck was on that one. Did you get to meet Ben Affleck?
No, I didn't. I'm a person that likes to stay away from the actors. It's just makes me a little nervous. So basically what I did on that show was just the Savannah part of it. Most of that shot in Georgia was down in the Brunswick area. They did do some of it here at the Roundhouse, the Railroad Museum, and then also at a beach house down on Tybee. So that was my involvement with that show. Beautiful show. The beach house scene looked wonderful if you've seen the movie.
Yes. We have the Do-Over, and where you were a key assistant location manager for Georgia. So there were other key assistants on that? Or
what that means is the Georgia part of the production, and most of it was shot right here in Savannah. but they did go down to Puerto Rico for about a week and did some of that down there. So they had a Puerto Rico team that handled a lot of that, the locations part.
Okay.
I was not fortunate enough to go with them down to Puerto Rico.
That would have been nice. That would have been beautiful. Dirty Grandpa. You were location manager on that. What was that experience like?
That was wonderful. I really enjoyed the movie. Robert De Niro, Zac Efron, all of it was shot at Tybee. It was just a wonderful experience. It was amazing to be working and seeing Robert De Niro, somebody that's done so much in the film industry for so many years. Very nice man. The crew was wonderful. They shot the rest of it in Atlanta, so this was another one that split between two locations. They were in Atlanta for a while and then finished up down here in Savannah.
And back to 2015 for TV, you did, and this is one of my favorite shows, Superstore. You were a location scout for, I think, the pilot of that?
Yes, I scouted for that. Unfortunately, they did not come to Georgia, to Savannah on that one. They ended up building everything on set in Los Angeles. But it's just very interesting to see how this works because they had scouts all over the country. I was one scout scouting Georgia. They had somebody in Texas scouting. They had, I think, about 5 different scouts all over the country. And what we were looking for was a grocery store or kind of a Walmart Target type store that was empty, that had just shut down and still had the shelving, still had everything in it. It had to be in that critical moment because they wanted for the pilot just to step right in and not have to do a lot of set dressing. Unfortunately, we didn't have anything like that here in Savannah. We had, so it didn't work out, but it was work for me and I enjoyed that part of it. So.
Let's see. And the next one is that we're going to talk about. This is from 2015. You were a location coordinator, and this, I believe, I think it swept the Academy Awards. Magic Mike, Triple X, or what is it, XXL?
XXL, right.
I'm being funny there. So, But what was that like?
Oh, it was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed working on Magic Mike. Steven Soderbergh. It was a great experience.
Cool. Did you meet Channing Tatum? You did?
Yes, he's very nice man. There's just a little story about that. So there was a crew member who was bringing in a washing machine, older man, I must say, and was struggling to bring this washing machine in, and Channing just walked over, picked it up, and helped him carry it in, Wow. And I just think that really shows a lot about him, just trying to help out.
What his character is.
Not being the star, but it was funny.
Well, the next movie, and I know that this production, they ended up transforming a lot of Broughton Street, and they did on Tybee. Also, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, and you were assistant location manager on that. I know at the end of that production, they donated a lot. I want to say to Habitat for Humanity, some of the set pieces and stuff like that. And what was your experience like with working on that production? Since it was, animated and some of it, there's a lot of green screen, I'm sure, going on. And Antonio Banderas.
Oh, it was a great experience. Yes, it's very interesting because they film a lot of nothing that they end up later dropping in animation and doing their magic. I don't quite understand it, but it was an incredible accomplishment to take over Broughton Street from one end to the other. Lots of months of prep on that, painting buildings. We had to do, I think it was, if I remember correctly, about 160 location agreements with the businesses and residents and things on Broughton Street. So that was a big part of what I did. And just getting the street ready, the little things that you don't think about. But we had somebody come in with a pressure washer and get all of the gum off the sidewalk, which was interesting. So took a lot of time. It's just, to me, when thinking back, amazing that we accomplished what we did.
Well, I know a lot of productions, when they come into Savannah, they set up a lot of stuff, and then they have to, put the location back, of course, the way they found it, and they have to transform it into a certain time and place. And everybody keeps asking me about the Disney production. And I know the other day we were at the luncheon there at the DeSoto, and you were talking about different things with locations and how that keeping the locations pristine, essentially. And you mentioned, if I can recall, just something to that effect. And I know we've talked about that. So I'm sure that they were good ambassadors, because we're ambassadors to the city, all of us that work in the film industry here, and especially you being one of the main contacts in Savannah. How has locations changed since you started in it, and how has it evolved with the different movies coming through and all that?
Well, now for me, I'm on the other side of the picture, being part of the film commission here, and not so much on the ground with, as a location manager. I work very closely with location managers, and what's really great about the team we have at my office, it's not just me, and I just have a wonderful team there. Katie Shook, she was a location manager and in production previously, so she's our location specialist, and she is one that goes out and helps find locations and shoots pictures and puts together location packages. And then Andy Young is also with our office. He has been with the film office in Savannah for probably 20 years, and he is also out scouting and taking photographs. And then I have Catalina Alcaraz Guzman, who is our office manager, and she is on just amazing, working with productions as they come in and helping them get everything they need from. It's just amazing. So we have a whole team that works with the productions when they come here, and that's really what it takes. It takes a lot of people because they have a lot of needs, and I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to those people.
And I think you mentioned Ralph Singleton the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
who's
Ralph
out in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's our liaison out on the West Coast, out in L.A. He is, his resume, his experience is incredible for many years. He's done The French Connection, Cagney and Lacey, a TV series back in the day. Just some in any production you mention to him, he has some connection, it seems. And he's also written some books on how to budget film. And those books, a lot of the producers and people that I work with know him by his books. A lot of those books are used in film schools. I think Katie studied from that book when she was in SCAD. So he's got a lot of experience, and he's out on the West Coast helping recruit productions there and telling them about Savannah.
That's good to get that word out about us, and because we are global here, and we have so many productions in the area and coming to the area, and we're going to talk about a few of them in a minute. Let's see, just looking back here at your resume of films, The Haves and the Have-Nots, and that was a TV series, and you were assistant location manager on that for about, I think, 20 episodes. And how is TV different than film? Well, I know, there's a big difference, but how is scouting? Is it any different when you're scouting for a television show versus a feature film? Or
not really in the scouting aspect of it. It's basically finding the looks they need. In the production end of it, it's a huge difference.
Okay. Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit on what that difference would be, that huge difference?
Well, TV is fast-paced, and you're doing episode after episode, and it's you don't have the luxury you do, I say luxury, in features to get things set up. When you're on TV, you're basically prepping, shooting, and wrapping a location as you're prepping, shooting, and wrapping, and it all overlaps, and so it's very time sensitive. I've never had the opportunity to work on a TV series from beginning to end. I did do some work on Royal Pains, but that was
Right.
mostly just they came down to Savannah just to do exteriors for 2 episodes, so it really wasn't a true TV experience. But I've worked on this side of it, helping them figure out what they need and solving some problems as they go along. We had Underground here, was a TV series, very fast paced, and also being a period piece. A lot of things, a very complicated shoot.
I would think definitely for like a period piece, since there are specifics of what you need, it does make it a little bit more difficult, I would think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on that. Okay, well, I want to get into some questions here, and because you've been an assistant production coordinator, a studio teacher, and location manager, and I'm going to ask you real quick, what is a studio teacher by definition?
A studio teacher works with children that are filming and works with them in getting their homework done, their studies done, and also serves as kind of a guardian of them on set, making sure they get the required legal rest time, make sure that they are just on camera the required amount of time, which varies from babies, I think it's 30 minutes maybe, up to, different ages. You have more and more time on camera. So, and just kind of to back up a little bit about that.
Sure.
My first career was as a teacher. So I worked as a teacher here in Chatham County in the school system for many years before I changed to film. And that really happened in the 90s. There was a film that came to my neighborhood called Camilla, Jessica Tandy's last movie before she passed away, Bridget Fonda. And they filmed in my neighborhood, and I just walked down and started watching, and it just fascinated me. So at that point, I thought, I have got to work in this industry, and that's kind of how it started. So
that's how you got the bug there.
Yeah. So
yeah. Wow. And teachers are unsung heroes. They really are. They help shape all of us to who we become, and very important. So our listeners would like to know some of the things as the executive director of the Savannah Area Film Office. What are some of the responsibilities? What does your office do for Savannah and for the film community?
Well, we market Savannah to the world. We do that by going to trade shows, going to film festivals. We went to Sundance. We have a big presence there. The Toronto Film Festival. Unfortunately, I didn't go this year, but went last year. Location shows, Produced By, which is a Producers Guild event in New York that they have every year. We had a table there last year. So we go out into the world and try to tell people about Savannah. Then once we get a bite, so to speak, once a production is interested, we work with them from before they come here until they wrap and are long gone. So we provide assistance all along the way. Our first step usually is they call and say, we're interested in filming in Savannah. We want to make sure that you have the locations we need. So they'll send a script or a location list, and so our team will put together a location package and try to sell the locations to the production. So once they've decided that looks like it might work, they usually will come to Savannah for a scout. So we take them out and scout with them, directors, producers, production designers, and show them these locations in person. And then the next step, once they decide they're coming here, that's when all the work begins, because they need everything. They want to know everything. And we connect them with the various municipalities that we have, as far as permitting, letting them, connecting them with the right resources, helping them find crew, find housing, and everything they need. So it's a lot. And then that's, working with productions. But on the other side of it, we also try to work with our local crew and support our local crew and our local businesses. So we do several things with that in mind. We have sponsored several PA boot camps. It's something that we offer free of charge. We set it up through our office. We have a very experienced DGA AD, Whit Lacey, who has volunteered his time to teach that class. So that kind of helps get people started in the industry. We've also sponsored a location manager symposium to try to help location managers learn how to work here in Savannah. And then we've also done some small business workshops where we work with small businesses or businesses just to explain how the film industry is different from other customers and how you can best capture that the money from the shows that come through town.
You also, your website lets a crew, put their resumes like a database for
Yes.
crews, which is definitely helpful.
Yes, we have a great website. filmsavannah.org is our website. We have several things on there. We have locations. Anybody can put their location there. You can go on there and upload pictures of your location. And I say a location, which can be anything, any piece of property from a fancy mansion to a little shack to a trailer to a store, a field, a farm, anything you have. If you want us to come take pictures, we will do that. Then we also have our crew database. So anybody that lives within a 60-mile radius of Savannah can register on our website, and you create your own link. You personalize it. You can upload a resume or write whatever you want on there, and you can list yourself in up to 3 different categories if you do several different jobs. And that's where people can look from around the world when they're looking at Savannah and want to see the crew that's here. And then also there's a support services or vendor database too. So any business in Savannah can go in there, and it's all categorized. We have things from medical to accommodations to lumber and paint stores. Anything you can think of, there's a place for it there. So when productions are here, when they're coming here, they can look through that and find the businesses they need that are local.
And you also, of course, give news on upcoming productions on there.
Yes, we have a featured news section. You can also sign up to get our emails when we have something new. Some of the productions, we wish more would let us post crew calls. We post casting when they're a casting call. Whatever the production needs to get out to the world, then we will post it.
And I just got a few numbers here. There are 583 members of the film community that are registered there, 470 businesses,
Yes.
and 850 filming locations.
Yes.
That's quite impressive. Savannah's such a beautiful, diverse place that our locations are just gorgeous.
Yes, and I think that's something that's important for people to understand too. I know we see these productions that are in the middle of downtown Savannah, and that is just one location. We have productions all over the county and in the surrounding counties. So when productions come in, they're not just shooting in the historic district. They want beaches and swamps and farmlands and mid-century neighborhoods and just every location you can think of. And it's amazing how they have spread out throughout this area.
Okay, Beth. Well, we're going to take our quick required breaks here on Savannah on Film, and keep listening for more fascinating conversation about all the film happenings in Savannah, here with Beth Nelson here on Savannah on Film.
WRUU brings you the most diverse and passionate local radio programming on the air in Savannah. This all-volunteer and nonprofit community radio station accepts no money from any form of government. Our diversity and independence is made possible only through the generous financial support of listeners like you. We rely on your annual and ongoing monthly contributions to cover the many costs associated with bringing you our broadcast and web programming. If you are a contributor, thank you. If you are not yet a contributor, please show your appreciation of the role WRUU plays in your life by becoming a contributor in any amount. You can donate quickly and easily by credit card or check. Just find the donate and subscribe links at wruu.org. Thanks for listening to and supporting WRUU.
Tune in Saturdays at 3 p.m. to Muses, Memoirs, and More, your show about authors, artists, and entertainers with your host, Adam Messer. You're listening to WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
The Ogeechee Riverkeeper offers monthly canoe and kayak excursions in all of the river's watershed through October. This year's paddles will take adventurers from the river's twisting and turning northern sections near Wadley, west of Augusta, to broad coastal stretches near Harris Neck, south of Savannah. The trips range from beginner to intermediate in difficulty. Boat rental is available. For more information, visit ogeecheeriverkeeper.org.
WRUU-LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And welcome back, everyone, to Savannah on Film. I am your host, Ed Ciucevich, along with Beth Nelson. And we were talking just before the break there on locations. And you were saying that anybody could basically get their house, their whatever, put down as a location. They can get it registered, essentially, at filmsavannah.org.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there are two ways that we do that. Some are public locations, but if you don't want your property public, then we would just keep them private and would use the pictures just to send out to particular productions that are interested in that location.
I want to move into the tax incentives. We're going to talk a little bit about that now, because that is a big driving force that's gotten a lot of film activity here in Savannah. And for those that don't know, the first tax incentive was started in 2008. Is that correct on that?
Yes, that's the Georgia tax credit. The Georgia legislature started that in 2008 as a way to attract productions to Georgia.
Okay, and $9.5 billion economic impact for the fiscal 2018 year has been a result of that tax incentive that's brought a lot of productions here. Now, there's also a cash incentive, and that's in conjunction with SEDA, which is the Savannah Economic Development Authority, and that actually comes to an end December of 2018, but you have some good news about that incentive.
Yes. So I guess kind of to back up a little bit,
sure.
In 2008, Georgia started this tax credit, a 30% tax credit for productions that film in Georgia. And so the productions were coming to Georgia, but mainly that was Atlanta. So they were basically there, and we wanted to find a way to bring them down to Savannah. So in Savannah, of course, being part of Georgia, you get the 30% tax credit, but we wanted to add a little bump to that to entice productions to come to Savannah and also to cover the cost that they would incur, because they're going to have to bring in some crew, they're going to have to ship in some equipment and those kind of things. So in 2016, the Savannah Economic Development Authority created a local entertainment incentive. And this incentive provides a 10% rebate. It's not a tax credit, it's actually a cash rebate on local spend in Chatham County. There is a cap on it. It caps at $250,000 for TV series and $150,000 for feature films. Very successful, very much what has driven productions to our area. Nowadays, the world of production has changed so much that they're all after the incentives. They're all chasing incentives around the world. So by having that makes us very desirable too. Not only our locations, which are very important also, but to have that extra incentive. So it was a 3-year program that is set to expire at the end of this year. But earlier this week, the CETA board voted to extend it for 3 more years. So we're very excited about that we'll have an extension of the incentive for 3 more years. We're trying to get the word out now as fast
That's
as
awesome.
we can.
Well, this is going worldwide, so that is out there.
And we've also changed it a little bit. What we're adding now is a bonus with an extra $25,000 bonus if 50% of the crew is local, live within the 60-mile radius of Savannah. Because what we're really after is to provide jobs. That's the main purpose of our office and what we're doing and why we're bringing productions here is to provide jobs for local residents of Savannah.
Right, because I know we always try to go local first, obviously, and that's our purpose. And I think one of the first movies to actually, and this may have been the state tax incentive, the first movie that filmed in Savannah was Gifted that received that incentive. Is that correct?
Yes, Gifted was the first production to receive the local Savannah incentive. And what's interesting about that show is the show is based in Florida, and they wanted to shoot it in Florida, but Florida lost their incentives. So they just didn't want to shoot in Florida because the money is so important to a production. So we look a lot like Florida. So the reason that production came here was because of the local incentive, and they were the first one to qualify and receive the incentive.
Let's see. I remember from the luncheon I went to the other day at DeSoto where you were speaking, you were talking about how originally Savannah was more location driven. An example you gave was the movie Forrest Gump. And but like you said, the incentives are now driving those productions to Savannah. So we've seen a big influx of films and TV programs, and there are a couple. There's one that's starting to film this coming Monday we can talk about. And I know there's certain things you can say and you can't, but Disney is in town, and I'm sure a lot of people know that at this point. Can you say anything about that production?
Well, I can't really talk about it yet. Just to say that we're happy to have that show here. It's big, and it's going to be when it comes out is when we really benefit from it and can talk about it. And it's just going to be amazing to see Savannah portrayed in this beautiful way and to see what kind of economic impact we'll get from that as far as tourism and promotions and things that will really shine a light on Savannah as a wonderful place to film a movie. And I hope everybody will think about that as you're inconvenienced over the next couple of months for these when these productions are here. And it's usually a simple inconvenience of having to go around a different way because a road is closed. But really think about what they're bringing here. They're employing local people, spending money in local businesses, and we will benefit for years to come.
There are also 2 TV series. I know you probably can't mention them, but I think one is by NBC and one by Hulu that's coming.
Well, there is an NBC Universal Hulu show series. That's one. And then the second one is Jax Media's doing another series here. So we've got 2 TV series. Once again, I can't say a whole lot about those either. Afterwards, we can talk about it.
All about them.
But yeah, so right now we are very busy. What's amazing is we have 3 big shows here, and they all chose different areas of our county to film in, so they're not going to be in each other's way. They've hired so much local crew. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful time to be in the film industry in Savannah.
And there's an independent film coming. I know you can't say what that is.
Yes, there's an independent that's coming, a smaller show, but it's got some great people attached to it, and they just landed this week, and they'll be shooting probably the end of October. So, lots of opportunities here for crew.
And we have a few things that those who may not be in the film community may not know about, but we have SCAD, of course, that their programs that they have for film and television to get students ready for that. We also have the Georgia Film Academy, or GFA, and the Savannah Film Office also sponsors a lot of crew mixers, which are great opportunities to mingle with and meet producers, directors, screenwriters, other fellow people that are in the industry.
Yes, our crew mixers are wonderful. We try to do one every quarter, and people ask about those. If you are on our crew list, on our database, on our website, then you will get an invitation to that. So it's for crew registered on our database, or if you're not and we know about you, we will invite you, but it's for the crew. This past one was just amazing. We had it at the Perry Lane Hotel. They were wonderful.
Gorgeous
They
venue.
just worked with us so well, and we just can't thank them enough. And just due to the nature of having 3 shows in town, I invited the producers from all 3 shows, and amazingly, they all showed up. So they were mingling with our local crew. And one of the productions, the producer just came up to me thrilled. He said he had found crew that he was lacking. He met people, and he hired them on the spot. I had crew come up to me saying, I just got a job because I was here tonight. So it's just that amazing thing that happened that was just a perfect example of why we do these. And we're just thrilled that we were able to provide those connections, because that's really what we're trying to do, is connect crew to the productions and the productions to the crew. So
Yeah, and I can't stress enough how important, if you're in the film industry and you haven't gone to one of those crew mixers, how it really can, just by your example there, for one, it can really advance your career, because you never know who you're going to meet. It's going to lead to something else. It's going to lead to something else. And before you know it, you're on your way.
yeah, and this industry is very much a networking industry, and who you know. And it's not just meeting the producers that are here from other shows, but it's also about meeting local crew members in your department. So maybe someone doesn't know you're here, and they work in a department and are looking for people to fill out their team. So it's just getting to know people is just critical in this industry.
I want to shift gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about women in the film industry. What do you think, Beth, are some of the challenges that women face in the industry in all different roles? Do you see some challenges still?
Well, I think it's just a reflection of the culture in general, and women have made a lot of progress, but there's still a long ways to go. When you look at Academy Award-winning directors, how many were women? You know, there's just still a long way to go, and but I've seen a lot of productions focus on that, is to make sure that they have not only women but also minorities and just a diverse crew. So I think we have made some headway, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we need to encourage that diversity more in film, because you get different voices and different, when I mean voices, not just voices, I mean voices from all different trades there. And so it's very interesting to see from those different departments women rising up in these roles and taking ownership of them and making some spectacular, helping to make some spectacular films. Where do you see the industry changing in favor of that, like behind the scenes? Do you see that behind the scenes and in front of the camera and above and below the line? Where do you see it going? Do you see more opportunities coming?
I do, and I think that the light has been shown on that. I think there are even studios that have got diversity clauses in them now and are really working to be more diverse. But there is a long way to go. But
And I know you've done your part because you were a co-founder of Savannah Women in Film and Television, or SWIFT, and y'all do have a page there on Facebook, and it's basically it helps to change the film industry, and it really helps to unite women and to get them into some of these roles, correct?
yes,
And get them prepared for.
We try to support each other, support women, provide opportunities for women, bring in speakers that are successful women in this industry. We've had some great speakers so far, and just trying to work together and provide that extra support that's needed.
And you guys usually meet monthly.
Yes.
And they can be found online also, as we said. And all different crew positions are really welcome to Swift.
Yes.
Yes. So I see personally nothing but good things coming for that diversity and for women in film. And it's very important. It should have always been important. It should have been at the forefront of the film industry. And it's good to see people like yourself helping lead that charge for that diversity and helping women to empower themselves to get some of those really good roles. And while we're speaking about the film community, where do you see Savannah's film industry in 5 years?
Well, I think that we are finally underway and really moving along in a positive direction. We've got some challenges ahead, and I think if we can overcome some of those challenges, then the sky's the limit. As long as we don't lose the Georgia tax credit, that's critical that we keep that. The productions are going to go somewhere else if we don't have the Georgia tax credit. Our local incentive, I hope that we can, after the next 3 years, we will have everything moving along in a positive manner. We don't need that anymore. People will be coming here because it's such a wonderful place to shoot, but we've got to keep the Georgia tax credit in place, and we've got a election year here, so keep that in mind. We also need a sound stage, a professional sound stage. We have some places that we have made work, but there's some limitations for all of those places. And I am really hoping, and I've got some positive thoughts from that we're going to see something happen there. There's people that are now interested in coming in and building a sound stage. So that's what we've really got to have to move forward. We are so fortunate. We have 2 TV series here that are making it work. But basically, a TV series has got to have a stage where they can build sets and leave them there and use them over and over. So if we can get that will be great.
You totally touched on a point that's come up several times with a lot of my guests here on the show, and it's about that infrastructure and having a sound stage, and it is vital to Savannah's growth. If we want to get to that next level and compete with, like you said, Pinewood and Atlanta, I want to see the next Avengers. Even though we had Ant-Man and the Wasp, I want to see Black Panther 2 done here, Wonder Woman 2, etc. I want all these Academy Award-winning films filmed here in Savannah,
Yeah, we definitely have got to have that. And the second thing, a direct flight to L.A., that would make a huge difference. It sounds petty, but it's important. It just makes a huge difference in time for production crew to get here from L.A., and then the other thing, just to continue to grow our businesses and attract more crew. We still have some holes in our crew that need to be filled, positions that need to be filled. And I would love to see our crew 5 or 6 shows deep. So we would definitely need more crew. We also have a crew incentive, too, that I didn't mention, that Savannah Economic Authority has funded. And that is a relocation incentive where we'll pay qualified crew members, we'll pay their moving expenses to move to Savannah. So we're hoping to encourage people with experience to move here. And then also just more vendors, camera vendors, and those kind of things that are specific to the industry. It would be great to have more of those rental houses here in Savannah.
Like camera, grip, and electric. Definitely good to have that part of that infrastructure here. And another question I have is, what about for independent filmmakers? What ideas are there in Savannah for funding independent filmmakers that you've come across?
Well, I get asked that quite a bit, and that's something that we don't do a lot with. Funding. I don't know what the answer to that question is. Okay. It's just finding the right people that are willing to invest in a movie, and I wish we had more local investors in that, but I think you have to go elsewhere to find the funding for film.
Okay. One of the things we talked about was with the Savannah film community and Savannah Film Company, we talked about awareness and connecting people and promoting Savannah films. Sometimes not just the crew, but let's say if they're filming at my house, I can talk about what a great experience that was, even though it may be semi-inconvenient. We need to all be speaking positive of the film experiences, because that word gets out, on social media, and say that Savannah is a welcoming place, which it is to the film community. So I think as an average citizen, yes, sometimes we're, like you said, we're inconvenienced a little bit, but it's important to realize that that film right there is creating jobs. It's stimulating our economy, and backing these films, helping these films out. It's keeping businesses, everything supports everything else, and we need to make sure that as a community, I think that we continue to do that.
Yes, I think it's very important to stay positive, and to, a pet peeve of mine is people that get on Facebook and just start talking negatively about things. We're all in this together, and as we're trying to grow the film industry, so let's be positive. Let's look for solutions to problems and how things can move forward. The businesses that have benefited, we've talked to them. We get great stories. It's just incredible how much, once you find that little niche and get connected with the film, how beneficial it is. It's been a wonderful experience for so many businesses we've talked to. And just keep moving in a positive way, and think about the economic impact that film has here. So far this year, up to July of this year, we have $109 million in direct spend into our community. And that was just, through July. We're going to have a lot more than that. That's money that comes in. It pays crew salaries. They in turn take that money, buy houses and cars and things, and put it back into our local economy. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful industry.
It is. Is there any topic we haven't touched on today, Beth? I know there's a lot to talk about. Your job, just in itself, by its description, is such intricate. There are so many moving parts that you have to make sure. Is there anything you wanted to mention that maybe we hadn't mentioned related to any of this?
Well, I don't know. There's just so much to this. I know I never cover everything that I want to say. I'll think about it later. But
same here. Yeah.
Just know that we are at an incredible time in the film industry in Savannah. Something that's never happened before, and I just am excited about it. I feel like we can have young people start careers in this industry, well-paying, great jobs, exciting jobs, and I think that it's a huge benefit for our community. And there are going to be problems, there are going to be hiccups along the way, but let's work together and try to fix it. If you have a problem, you have a concern, something you see, please call our office, and we're happy to talk to you about it.
Okay. Well, Beth, I want to thank you so much for joining me today here on Savannah on Film. It's been a pleasure having you, and I thank you for your knowledge. I thank you for your leadership in the Savannah film community and all you've done throughout your career. It is very much appreciated.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me.
And I want to remind our listeners that Savannah on Film wants to feature film professionals at different levels. So if you're listening and you're in the industry, I'd love to talk to you too. Our email is savannahonfilm@gmail.com. We are also found on Facebook, and you can like the page if you choose as Savannah on Film. We're on Twitter, and you can hear these interviews. They all end up on our Savannah on Film YouTube channel. And you can check out past interviews with all the film professionals that we've been so fortunate to have on here. I want to remind you that Savannah on Film is a voice for the Savannah film community. And you have been listening to Savannah on Film with your host, me, Ed Ciucevich, on WRUU 107.5 FM, Savannah Soundings. We are community radio with global soul. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film.